Maxine, thank you so much for joining us on the virtual pink couch. And I'm glad you're here to really help clarify what has happened between Hal and Seabourn. And in addition to that, your role, because we've never really introduced you to the entire North American audience, and you are in charge of North America. And I usually make a point of really doing the rah rah, go girl, but we've never done that. So the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Nina. It's always a pleasure to be here with Open Jaws. So I really appreciate that. And the Canadian landscape with Seabourn and Hall in America, we've always had essentially two business development managers, and in fact, an inside sales representative for those smaller growing accounts. And so they continue to be dual branded, wearing those two hats. They are our fierce, boots on the ground, Fiona in the West and Aaron Crawford, Maritimes to Manitoba for the rest of the country. So really, truly, the integration and amalgamation of the teams doesn't really affect the Canadian market too much, which I'm very, very grateful. And my role continues to be the same. And I'm more on the strategy side for national accounts and consortias across all of North America. So I'm working with the consortias, and yes, my breadth or portfolio therefore grows with the changes. And so I'll be taking on Virtuoso on top of Ensemble, AAA, CAA, Expedia Cruises. So I do have quite a large portfolio across North America.
And that is really worth underlining, is the fact that you are in charge of the States and Canada, which I think has happened a few times, that we've seen that happen. A Canadian, because usually it's the reverse, right? Usually an American is hired. And so we celebrate that. And what is it really that you need to do in both markets? Do you find it different? Are you seeing it? Are you approaching it as a whole? What do you do every day, basically, Maxine?
That's a great question, because there are pieces where we treat it as a whole. When we look at the numbers, gone are the days of separating Canada and US. But when you
Okay.
do, you really find that there are some significant powerhouses here in Canada. We are a delicate beast. We are different in many ways, especially, when you think about currencies and messaging in marketing. So on a daily basis, I wear all of the hats.
That's a lot. And what it brings to mind is the Seabourn positioning in the markets. And
Mm.
I remember when I first started, really understanding the cruise market, a lot of it through working with Encore Cruises and Vanessa, of course, walking me through what luxury means, because I was a newbie. And Seabourn was top of the class. There was no question, no one could touch Seabourn. And now you've got a lot of competitors in that same luxury sphere. And I wonder, what is the feedback, and also actually, what is the penetration in the two markets? Is it different? Do you approach positioning it differently in the two markets?
Great questions.
Big question.
It is. I mean, I think those are the $1 million questions that we spend all of our energy analyzing,
Right.
because it's not that we have all the answers. The number one thing when you ask about where Seabourn is, luxury is growing. What we have learned from anything we've experienced in the last 4 years is that we deserve travel, we value travel, we want exclusive, interesting, immersive, life-changing travel. So when we think of contemporary, your traditional mass market trips, even those from those markets are graduating themselves. They want less crowds, they want more authenticity, they want more inclusions. So all of that points to luxury. And that's why you're seeing a growth in the sector in general. It's not something where we call it, in an economy, it's like red water and blue water, right? Red water is where all the sharks are, and it's just a bloodbath. So they're not coming into luxury space for the red water. It's because it's blue water. It is, there's a lot of space over here.
Right.
So Seabourn continues to be that leader for the fact that we pioneered the ultra luxury space. We were the first ones to have this small ship luxury experience, and we continue to deliver and we continue to grow ourselves. So for the last 2 years, launching 2 new ships, and they happen to both be expedition ships, is because we have been in the expedition space for over a decade, and just wanting to deliver the most incredible product that can be. So actually that brand new ship being award winning in its first year was exciting, but not surprising because of the delivery
Yeah.
that we have. So it's a beautiful space. And when you think about how do we tackle the Canadian market to the US market, I do find that the Canadian market is still in its infancy stage. We're
Yeah.
still graduating out of land travel. Even when we think bigger and we dream bigger of what does luxury mean, I think we still think land first. And so for that reason, Canada is a little bit more behind and has so much more opportunity for growth. I mean, you can just think of the exponential trajectory when you do realize, oh, I want to do Italy. I don't want to unpack and pack and repack and then, moving around, because when you say things like Italy or Croatia, you guaranteed instantly start rattling off 3, 4, 5 different cities, regions, destinations. So
Yeah.
as soon as you start building an itinerary of multiple destinations, but you want to do it authentically and you want to do it special, you can think of
Small.
Seabourn, because small, you want
Yeah.
intimate. It doesn't matter as small. It's the personalization. When I walk on Seabourn, it's like this feeling of I own the place. I feel special. I don't feel crowded. There's no friction points. And I think that's what general, you want to say the mass market. It's not that the whole mass market's going to fit into luxury, but it is growing in commonality that that's what people desire.
Right. Yeah. No, interesting. And it certainly supports everything that we've been publishing and we've been seeing in the research. We're seeing a bit of softening in the expedition market, but I don't think it's enough to warrant, any concern for products like yours, obviously, because you're very flexible in what you offer. One of the things I'm curious about is we've been last, say, 5 years, millennials have been the top travel story, if you will, in terms of embarking on cruises and using travel advisors. And now I'm reading Gen Z or Z, depending on which market we're talking to. Are you seeing that on a Seabourn type of product?
What we're seeing is that the younger generations are being exposed to Seabourn because of the multi-gen
Right.
behaviors. So I mean, when we think millennials, well, millennials are in their 40s now, so they are absolutely the perfect audience for Seabourn. In fact, a lot of people who might not be familiar with Seabourn would think that Seabourn's luxury is reserved for the oldest demographic, and that's not necessarily the case. Our average ages on board are mid 40s to late 60s, because
Really?
we are this casual nature, this social nature, this active nature of the spectrum of luxury. It's not a traditional luxury that you're experiencing. So you can
Yeah.
imagine it more like your golf and country club.
Yeah.
And that's the Seabourn product. So when you look at a golf and country club, Nina, exactly to your point, you're seeing younger members who are spending, what is a membership? Is it 40,000, 50,000? It's not about price. It's about the experience. They want to go to the club. They want to have lunch at the club. They want to socialize at the club. And that's what Seabourn delivers. So without a doubt, with full confidence, someone in their 20s on their honeymoon and in their 30s enjoying, travel into their 40s would absolutely feel comfortable with Seabourn. And we are definitely seeing that growth.
Great. I'm so pleased to see that and hear about that because, of course, the cruise market, as you said, there's so much room to grow. In Canada, I remember a few years ago, its penetration was like 35% or something. So there's obviously a huge market still that would want to participate in that product. And I think advisors are more and more engaging in selling cruising and in learning about cruising. And luxury is the ticket. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Maxine, and I wish you well, and I look forward to watching your growth through the cruising industry over the next 10 years. As I move back, you move forward, and that's just the way of life, right? So I'm very happy for you. Thanks, Maxine.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you very much.